Welcome to our channel, where we update the most dramatic, surprising and unforgettable developments of the hit TV series Beyond the Gates. Today, we will bring you a story that will shock and suffocate viewers, when Nicole discovers that Hayley is pregnant with her own husband, not Bill as she once thought. A shock enough to push anyone over the fragile line between reason and madness. And below is the whole story full of tragedy and hatred. Nicole never thought that her life would turn to such a dark direction. She used to be a symbol of success, of courage. Of a modern woman who knows how to preserve both her career and family happiness. With a perfect appearance, an admirable job, an exemplary husband and a solid network of social friends. Nicole seems to have it all. But the cruelest thing is when everything that seemed perfect was actually a cover for a betrayal that had been gnawing at her heart for a long time without her knowing. It all started with a vague suspicion. A furtive glance between Hayley and her husband at a party, a too natural laugh when the three of them were chatting. A seemingly unintentional but haunting touch. Nicole is not a suspicious person, but she is sensitive enough to feel when the boundary between best friend and third person begins to be violated. When she learned that Hayley was pregnant, Nicole was stunned, but still tried to cling to the thought that it was the result of a quick relationship between Hayley and Bill, a promiscuous man. No stranger to love scandals. But all those small hopes were crushed mercilessly when she accidentally accessed the results of a hidden DNA test. The result left her dumbfounded. The child was not Bill's. It was her husband's. Nicole's world collapsed. Anger flared in her chest, so intense that she could hardly breathe. She had been betrayed. Not just by her best friend, but by her husband of many years. Every memory of happy times now felt like an insult. She imagined the nights he'd said he'd been working late, the surprise meetings. The times Hayley had come over to visit, all of it an elaborate play in which she'd been forced to play the dumb spectator for so long. With each passing second, the pain inside her grew into rage. No more tears. No more begging. Just the madness of a woman betrayed to the core. Nicole couldn't sleep. In the endless sleepless nights, she lay there, eyes wide open. Her mind like a record spinning over and over again, replaying imaginary images of her husband and Hayley. She heard their laughter in her head, their whispers in the night. Their heavy breathing behind closed doors. All of it was like knives piercing her heart, bleeding every fragment of the past. She could no longer distinguish between reality and imagination. And then, like a strange survival reaction of the human psyche, she began to change. Nicole became eerily quiet. She did not question. She did not cry. She did not accuse. But every action she took was calculated. She silently planned. A revenge plan carefully laid out as if she were a well-trained spy. Nicole began to take notes, take pictures, collect information. She knew which clinic Hayley went to, which doctor monitored her pregnancy, how many private meetings her husband had with Hayley. Nothing escaped her eyes anymore. There was no room for love or forgiveness in her mind. Only cold hatred. She began to play psychological warfare. Anonymous messages were sent to Hayley, containing vague but haunting threats. Strange gifts appeared on Hayley's doorstep, a doll with a broken head, a vial of fake blood in a baby bottle, an ultrasound with a red line across its face. Hayley began to have trouble sleeping. Panic attacks, extreme anxiety. She dared not tell anyone, did not dare call the police for fear of being exposed. Nicole knew this, and she enjoyed the gradual deterioration of her betrayer. Her husband, meanwhile, was still unaware of the storm brewing in his own home. He thought Nicole had accepted the truth, that she just needed time to cool off. He was wrong. Nicole wasn't cooling off. Nicole was burning. Nicole was turning into a completely different person, a woman pushed to the limit, where there was nothing left to lose. She began to fabricate false evidence, stage incidents that made Hayley suspicious at work, causing Hayley's social relationships to crack. A rumor was spread that Hayley deliberately seduced a married man, that her child was the result of a scheme to climb the social ladder. The rumors spread like fire in dry straw. Hayley was shunned by her colleagues, avoided by her friends, and suspected by her family. Everything she had began to crumble piece by piece, while Nicole silently watched from behind. Like a chess player gradually moving her pieces to her side. The unborn child was no longer an innocent creature in Nicole's eyes. It was a living symbol of betrayal, of pain, of destruction. Every kick in Hayley's belly was a hammer blow to her heart. And that made Nicole more dangerous than ever. She began to talk to herself, muttering Hayley's and her husband's names for hours on end. She wrote dozens of pages in her diary, each line a fragment of her soul screaming for a way out. But the more she wrote, the deeper she sank into the abyss. She no longer trusted anyone. No longer smiled, no longer slept. All that remained inside Nicole was an absolute obsession, and an absolute determination that everything would pay. And when the time came, Nicole would not back down. She would be the judge. No one could stop her anger. No one could save the people who had trampled on her heart to satisfy their lust. Nicole was no longer a victim. She was the storm. She held the knife. And when she struck, there would be no mercy. Thank you for following this haunting story. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more shocking episodes from Beyond the Gates. We will continue to bring you unexpected twists. Be prepared. It's just the beginning.